And
Hmm.
so, AWS has GovCloud and all that stuff. We talked about that a little earlier, but DHA set up a private cloud,
Hmm.
and that was in response to constant hacking, trying for the enemy trying to get in. So now they're going to set up enterprise imaging within their own firewall. VA is looking a little bit like they're going to go to AWS GovCloud. We have some VNA stood up in there, but I think the big companies need to keep an eye on the mission, right? What is the mission statement? Otherwise, you're going to get caught up with the GWiz Bank stuff. You're going to get big companies are going to get churned out. Little companies are getting churned out. Um, and it comes back to what I said earlier about the gangster shirt. Like switch out AI. Everybody wants to be an AI until it's time to really go do AI, right, and be successful. And
Yep.
that's where it all falls apart. I think you had it was you or somebody else on LinkedIn posted about pilots, pilot programs. Was that you that did that?
No, it was. I reshared that one because it
Yeah.
was so. I didn't see at the bottom they did a super shameless pitch for themselves, but I'm
Uh,
like, whatever. The
yeah.
top part was awesome, and I'm like,
Right.
fine, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I reshared it, but I wasn't the original
Yeah.
author of
To
it.
me, that's a little bit of, I think, the state of the union of the industry. Come
Yeah,
do a pilot. Come do a pilot. And to your point, they don't really have a clue on what the workflow is or what the mission actually is. And then when it comes time to really invest in that, they either don't have a stomach for it or they don't have the funds for it. And we've been in the business for about 30 years in the federal government, and we have the stomach for it. And so we vet this. We take great pride in the relationship with the government. Far exceeds priority than the relationship with a fly-by-night company that is looking for a quick hit to be bought out at some point, which is a lot of
yeah,
these companies.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the private cloud with NetApp. It's an interesting idea. I live way out up in the mountains, and so I haven't gone down the EV or Tesla route, et cetera.
Mhm.
But I, Mike, even if I did, I don't want it because I just don't want to be tracked. And they're like, "Well, how do you update the software?" And I said, "I'd set up a local server, allow Tesla to update right there, and then
Right.
I would disconnect that now from the internet. I would manually update the software myself, and then I would disconnect it again. Like I just don't. I just not a
You don't want Big Brother all up in your business?
well, a little bit Big Brother, but also I had a real genius programmer from India that worked for me before, and he's like, he on his smartphone could hack into my truck
Right.
because it has a computer and it connects to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, all that stuff. He took over my truck like in 2 minutes, and I'm like,
Yeah. We have the Tesla.
so
Yeah.
well, I don't have. I'll never
No, no,
tell
no.
anyone not to get it. I've got my own. Maybe it's just because I grew up so much in the sticks for this whole time. You just never, it's almost like the beginning of Brother Where Art Thou goes, I nicked the census, man. You from the bank?
Well, my wife has that. I have the lifted F-150, true redneck style, right? I hunt and
Nice.
fish, so. Um,
Yeah.
but I would say 5 years ago, the government put out the single PAX initiative. VA followed. And what's interesting about it all, Jeremy, is the convergence of commercial and federal healthcare in thought. About
Hmm.
how IDNs are getting bigger. So how do we look to solving force multiplying our capabilities? The government is just is going the same route. So your original lead off was what are the problems facing it. It's almost the same problems that are facing the commercial world. It's just how they go about acquiring and moving in the right direction are radically different. But I think the federal government, with respect to AI, is going to be probably out there in front because they don't have to worry about the reimbursement component of that, and they can move down the road. And I think the commercial world is going to, at some point, look towards the federal government to say, how did this work? Right? What worked? How did you implement that? And so, for me, I'm very proud of the fact that I'm a part of that conversation, right? In guiding them at a very senior high level, at the director level of DHA and at the secretary shelfing level for VA. and giving them and asking those questions and not just ringing them up, not just, you know, the old Bugs Bunny rolling dollar signs in your eyes is not happening. We're asking very loaded questions and forcing them into a very uncomfortable position to have to form a strategy, right? And the result of that is very fruitful conversations. So I would say stay tuned and look at the federal government with respect to AI. I think they're going to lead the way. I do think CMS will come around to reimbursement sooner rather than later. Probably like they did with advanced visualization, where they just attach a modifier to a CPT code. So, you know, you do a CT of the chest width, and if you do any kind of AI, you can attach that like you could if you did any kind of advanced visualization work. I think that's probably going to be the route they go. But it's super exciting. We're putting together some really fantastic things for the federal government. It's exciting, and when my part is done, right, when they get that enterprise imaging, whether it's with us or with somebody else, you know, I'm going to retire to my bass boat.